First off, I'll show you the different variations of family residences main building and how to loop on each variation. To identify them so as to know where to go when you do end up in a chase in the main building, just know where the windows are as each variation has a unique window. Now, to understand how there can be variations, it makes sense to understand the base layout that all variations are based on. So first, with a tour of the general layout of the main building. So this is the basic layout tour. So without going into any of the variations, I'll just go through the main building at its base so we can get a better understanding on how to approach the variations. So in here, once we enter, we see that the hallway here that connects every room is in the shape of a T. And then further that, to the left and right, there are connecting tiles. And here we enter the room on the right from the entrance. It is Oni's room, as you can see by the mask. And this room over here on the left has the staircase going up. And as a little note, you can see that basement, if it does spawn in the main building, it spawns in Oni's room. So yeah, now I'm just moving here between these two different rooms just to give you a bit of some time to understand how the windows and doors can possibly spawn. Obviously this is just one variation, I'll just go through each variation shortly after, but yeah, you can see it's a pretty consistent pattern, if you will, to where the windows and doors can spawn. And now I'll show you the different variations that you can see. Alright guys, this is the first variation of the family residence main building. So the variation comes in the form of the windows being, well, the first one being in this room over here, so the left room, and the other window is over here. It's quite a bit far, and it's pretty much over to the exterior of the building. So in this case, I'll recommend going for this one. It is a bit stronger if you are approaching it from over here, because as you can see here, there is a breakable door, and the killer can't just mind game you. So if they do decide to break the wall, you know, they're stuck in animation, and even if you have light, that's even better, and you can probably reach the next tile. So there's that. Of course, you have to gauge the distance. If you don't believe you have enough distance, then I recommend you play over here. It's still pretty good. And in here, you want to go anti-clockwise. So if you go clockwise, I'll show you what's wrong with it, or at least what's harder with it. And that if we go anti-clockwise, it's a bit harder to go for the fast vault here, right? Even from this side, you have to be quite experienced with angling yourself for the fast vault, and obviously during a chase you might not have that in mind, and it might not be so great if you want to, you know, have a good chase and have some gens popping. So in this case you want to go anti-clockwise. So if we go for the other side, we see that is with this little rock obstacle right here, it curves your path more naturally and it's easier, and the killer can't also go through it, so they also have to follow it. So go over here, it's much easier to go for it. And if I go to the other side, it's similar concept. It's not as circular, but it's still as, you know, still decent. So here you're gonna go in a straight line, kind of curve at the end, and you're good. Alright guys, this is the second variation of the family residence main building, and there are essentially two windows here. So one is stronger than the other. This one right here is in this room. If I just quickly vault into it, just give you a little reminder of what it looks like. And the second one is in this room, Oni's room, the room on the right. And this window is right. It's not as strong as the other one, but yeah, you can still play and mind game the killer and get some distance if you win the 50-50. So the reason why this window up here is the stronger one is because if you go over here, you see that there's a breakable door that spawns in by default, and if the killer doesn't break it, it's a pretty long wall, so they can't mind game here, so they're forced to break it. Right? If they do try to mind game it, you know, you can see with enough distance whether they're going to approach or not, and then even if they guess that you're going to go through the window, there's quite a bit of distance, so you can even medium vault it and you're safe. And yeah, once they're locked in the animation of breaking the door, once they finally decide to, you know, stop chasing with the door still up, you can see it, one through the sound of the door breaking, but the other one is that the red light is forced to shine through it, right, because they're stuck in the animation. So once you're aware of that, of either of those two indicators, you can just go ahead and leave and go to the next loop. In this case, it's a TL wall. Alright, this is the last and third variation of this main building in family residence. And here, the things that you want to look out for are these two rooms, because they contain the windows. And this one, it's a fairly strong window. And over here, it's a pretty decent window as well. So in here, you can see that you have a pretty decent long wall here, so you can pretty much postpone your commitment to your vault decently late. So over here, if you see them coming over, you react quick enough, you can just medium vault back in. Over here, if you decide to go over here, if you're forced to or you intentionally want to, you know, make sure that you're vaulting not from the outside here, but from within the room, because from either direction you're naturally going into a fast vault, so that's pretty nice. So from here, over here, and from over here, you can also, it's pretty much a straight line, and you go ahead and fast vault. Hey everyone, so this is the tour of the base layout of the Sanctum of Wrath map. So as you can see here, it's not a building in the traditional sense, but it is essentially the consistent main structure of the map, so in a sense it is the main building. So I'm just going to go you through a quick tour of this little structure. It's pretty simple once we get around it, but yeah, as we get on the top of the stairs here, we see it is a square layout at the top here. And there are essentially these remains of a house here, so these remaining walls that also have this square-like structure, so it seems to be like a smaller square within a smaller square kind of thing. And then there's a statue in the middle, there can be a gen there. I think there's always, if not, there's always a gen here. And in the three corners there are windows, so this one over here, this one over here, and this one over here. And the fourth corner, well, it doesn't really have a window here. You see there's a drop here. Next to it there is a staircase in which there is a window. And FYI, I'm just going to go do a quick little guide for this. In order to hit the fast vault for that one, which can be pretty hard, what I like to do is imagine that there's a center line across this staircase, this initial staircase here. Right, I'm walking on it. And also imagine that there is a horizontal line in between the posts that make up this window, right? This left and right post. Imagine there's a horizontal line here. And what I imagine myself doing is that I go I travel along this center line, and you see the hand railing next to me. As soon as it ends, I start going towards this horizontal line, and more specifically, it's the right section, the right part of this horizontal line. So, just to repeat, center line, handrail ends, go for the right side. And that reliably gets you the fast vault. Not always, because it is pretty hard, but I've tested this a few times and it does indeed give me the fast vaults like 8 or 9 times out of 10. So let's put it to test. I'll do 2 runs here and then I'll go back to the rest of the tutorial there. So in here, center line, right side, and here you go, get the fast vault. Do it again, center line, right side, and there we go. It's more towards center, but at least it's towards the right side. So there you go. That's a bit of a little mental trick you can remember when you're at this place. Center line, handrail, and right side. So back to the main building here. We've covered the 3 corners with a window and 1 without a window, but also on the side of the main building there can be a pallet spawn. Depending on the variation, I'll go through each one of them after this tour, but here we have this little mushroom lamp on this side of the building, and the pallet can spawn here. It's a pretty memorable lamp because it's pretty big and has these statues around it. And just as a little note, if basement does spawn in the main building of this map, it spawns on this same side of this mushroom lamp. That's one place where the pallet can spawn on the side of the building. The other place where it can spawn is here, over here. So this horizontal rock with statues around it is where the pallet can spawn over here. And it also is facing this staircase that I mentioned just now. So yeah, that's the base layout tour. So this is the first variation of the Sanctum of Wrath main building. So in this variation, essentially the difference between the 2 variations is that the 2 pallets spawn in different places. So the first pallet spawns in the southeast corner of this top area. So if we're south over here, this means that this is southeast, right? This corner is southeast. So this pallet can spawn over here. By default, it spawns upright, of course, like any other pallet. But ideally, in a chase, you would have it dropped, and I'll show you why in a bit. Then the second pallet spawns on the east side outer wall of the building over here, by this big lamppost with the statues around it. So yeah, that's essentially it. The difference. Now for recommendation, I would say this particular pallet, while not the worst and the unsafest thing to loop, it's not exactly, you know, a great place to loop, right? Because even if you win a 50-50, you get the killer to think that you're gonna drop and you don't, you continue, like you don't go anywhere, right? You don't really get much value out of winning a mind game. Whereas the other one, it's better because you're able to reliably reach this window over here and essentially reset the loop and gain more time. So imagine you're coming from over here and the killer is kind of trailing behind you and you have some distance. You go pass behind this pallet and you drop it. So the reason why you drop is that it forces the killer to either go left or right from that direction. I'll show you what to do from the other direction. But essentially it's that you want to connect to this window no matter what direction the killer goes. So if they go to right, hey, that's good, right? Because you can go over to here and go for the window. If they go to the left, that's a bit trickier, but as long as you pay attention, the nice thing is that you have these little holes in these Japanese walls. If you see that the killer goes left and they keep on going left, right, they commit, you can go and go for this window over here. So you need to be moving at the same time, right? You can't just stay in here, and pay attention to where they go, and then go over here to this window. And if they do try to mind game, well, this is kind of a mind game. If they decide to try to cut you off over here, well, you just go over and either go here, try to go for this pallet, or you go for this window over here. So it's not exactly safe, but at least you have some options, right? So that's tackling it from this side. From this side, let's just say for some reason the killer is going from these stairs, and you go over here. Well, kind of the same concept, like which window are you able to take? If they go from the right, you go to the left, you try to see as late as possible, and then you go over to this window. If instead they go from the left, well, in this case it's a bit trickier, but yeah, you still have to go for the window. So in here you see they're going to the left, you try to position yourself as best as possible, and then you go on over here, and you even have these holes there to assist you. So obviously not all cases are going to be 100% proof of mind gaming, but at least you know where to go for it, and depending on where the killer goes. So that's the first variation. This is the second and last variation of this main building and the Sanctum of Wrath map. So in here, the two pallets, so in case you didn't know, the difference between this variation and the other variation is where the pallets spawn. So in this case, the pallets spawn over here. So there's the first pallet. This is the top area of this building, and right now we're facing the northeast corner. And a way to just kind of orient yourself, or how I like to do it, is think of where the statue is facing as south, so we're south, so that will make this corner northeast. So this pallet spawns on the northeast corner. There's also the window there, which I'll explain how to use, and there's also the pallets over here. So starting off with, I guess, the stronger one, is this one over here, and this one I recommend dropping it because it's stronger when it's dropped. And when it's dropped, you have options depending on which side you are. So even if you're standing here or you're here and the killer's on the other side approaching you, I'll show you what to do. So I'll just first drop it. So imagine you're over on this side and the killer's over there. If they go to your left, well, guess what? You have the window, and you can go through, and the thing is you even have holes in these walls, so you even have more visibility on whether the killer is committing or not. But yeah, if they go on, you go over here. If they don't go on, essentially go clockwise. You can go, you keep on going here, they double back, you return here, and the thing is that you have this window over here. So you have this window and you have that window to play off whatever direction the killer goes, whether they're double backing or they're committing, no matter which side. So just keep those two keep these two windows and this kind of concept of which options do I have depending on where the killer goes in mind, and these kinds of explanations will make more sense. So yeah, if they go from the left, they continue, you go on over here to the right, and if they go and drop off here, well, you just go ahead and go back over here and vault over and repeat the process. And if they decide to vault again, well, that gives you more time because they take time to vault, and you can just return from here over to this pallet. So that covers it when they go to the left. And yeah, if you go from the right, yeah, you have these stairs. And if you don't know how to go for the fast vault for these stairs, just rewind to the base layout tour of this main building, and I cover that aspect there. So yeah, that's covering it from this side, and from that side, it's the same concept, right? So if they go from the right, you can't really go for this fast vault because there's even this gap here they can fall through, and even if the pallet's close by, it's kind of hard. It's not that reliable for you to reach the pallet in time because you do get staggered. So in that case, if they do decide to go to the right, you go ahead and go for these stairs. And in a similar fashion, if they go to the left, you make a roundabout, try to see if they keep committing, and if they do, you just go on ahead and go for this window. So it's pretty much always trying to monitor as best as you can where the killer is going and adjusting in that way, and knowing where to go, right? So make sure that you know that the window can spawn over here and that the window spawns over there. Those are 100%. So yeah, though that is this pallet over here. This pallet over here isn't the best, right? If you're coming from here, you want to try and greet it, because if you do drop it, it's like a 50-50. So I would just recommend, kind of faking it. Most killers will respect it, and you can go ahead for this window over here. It also isn't the best thing, so you kind of also want to fake it. It also depends on the killer, but yeah, that's kind of the follow-through after you succeeding in the mind game of that one. And the follow-through of succeeding in the mind game of this one is going through over here. So yeah, that's the second variation.